Chris.
Hey, Clint. So in this segment, we welcome Major General Clint Crozier from Amazon Web Services for discussion on the future of connectivity in space and the opportunities created by the advancement of satellite-based cloud computing. So, Clint, welcome. You've had a long and distinguished career in the Air Force with a particular emphasis on space. You've done everything from operating GPS, SATCOM, and missile warning satellite communication constellations and launching Atlas and Titan missiles. And you were the lead planner and architect of the U.S. Space Force, as we've heard from many already today. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today. So then you retire, and you go to the private sector. You go to Amazon Web Services, which might not come to the average person's mind when they think about space. So tell us why it should, and what cloud technologies are most valuable to the space industry.
Yeah, so again, thank you, Chris, for having me, and thank you to the Chamber for this wonderful event. We appreciate it. When AWS reached out to me, frankly, after I announced my retirement, and AWS said, Clint, we'd love to talk to you about joining Amazon Web Services. I thought the same thing, to be quite honest. I thought, I'm a career space operations leader, and I don't know what value I could provide to Amazon Web Services. And they invited me over, and we spent some time learning about the cloud and learning about their systems and capabilities, and then said, Clint, we want to build a business around the space and aerospace industry. And really, Chris, I describe it and explain it like this. AWS saw the rapid growth of the aerospace and the space industry like everybody in this room has seen, over the last number of years. And we see into the future just the amazing opportunities. This is the most exciting time in my lifetime to be operating in the space industry for sure. And so AWS recognized that the cloud has unique and extraordinary value and capability, from artificial intelligence to machine learning to advanced data analytics, unique capabilities. And when you bring cloud and space together, it unlocks significant innovation for our customers. And so the way I describe it is, think about it this way. We have some 10,000 objects on orbit, space objects, satellites, and space stations today. All the industry experts tell us that will grow by anywhere from 5 to 10 times over the next 5 to 10 years, right? Amazing growth. And what we're experiencing and seeing is the amount of data coming down from satellites today is some 10x times what it was 5 years ago, and will be 10x times that 5 years from now. So the way I describe the problem is this: we are literally living in a world where we've got so much data coming down from space, people are literally having trouble figuring out what to do with the data. How do you store it? How do you manage it? How do you process it? How do you analyze it? How do you secure it? How do you distribute? How do you make sense of it all? We're bringing down petabytes and petabytes of data, and that will only grow. And so when you think about the cloud and cloud-based technologies, that's what Amazon is really good at: managing large volumes of data to secure it, store it, analyze it, deliver it, distribute it, make sense of it. And so when you understand that it's really all about the data, and yes, I spent my entire career flying satellites and launching the rockets, and as much as it pains me to say, it's not about the satellite and rockets, it's about the data. But when you understand that it's the data, then it makes perfect sense, this marriage of space and cloud and Amazon Web Services.
Thank you. And that sort of brings me to the next topic. You talked a lot about data, and we'll get later to some of the traffic management issues. But over the course of the pandemic, businesses and government have greatly increased their reliance on cloud-based architectures. And as a result, one's not surprised, these architectures have come under greater threat from sophisticated cyber gangs, ransomware actors, and of course foreign nation states. So can you tell us a little bit about the tools and infrastructure that AWS has developed to prevent attacks and protect the data that you were talking about as so critical to our society?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And again, it's all about the data. And one of the things I love about Amazon Web Services is I made this transition from 33 years of government, military, DoD, and intelligence community experience operating space. One of the things I really love is AWS treats security as priority zero every day. AWS has built that security into everything we do. And as a 33-year practitioner of national security, I greatly appreciate that. And so whether you're a healthcare system, whether you're a financial services industry, whether you're a government defense or intelligence community capability, we build the same security into all those platforms such that whether it's a health certification, whether it's a financial services, whether it's FINRA, whether it's HIPAA, whether it's FedRAMP, AWS has all of those certifications. And so when customers use our cloud, they can be guaranteed that they've got the highest level of security and certification built in. Many people don't recognize, but AWS some 10 years ago opened our first secure cloud region. In other words, we have a secret enclave within the AWS cloud, and we operate all the way up to the highest security levels for defense and intelligence organizations around the globe. And so we have put extraordinary resources into securing the platform and the network. In fact, many of our customers observe to us, as we sit down and really help them innovate on the cloud. Many of our customers say, Clint, in terms of security, there's no way our company, whether large or small, could match the amount of global scale and resource that AWS can put into securing their networks. And so we're very comfortable that you all are able to provide that capability for us in a way that we can never do ourselves. So security built in as priority zero, maintain the largest number of industry certifications around the globe. We operate isolated, specified, secure, secret, top secret regions, and all of it is so that our customers don't have to manage all that infrastructure themselves, and they can count on AWS to do it. So it really is another good combination and perfect marriage. And as I said, as a 33-year practitioner of national security, it's one that I really, really appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. And as you were making your opening comments and talking about data and security now, one of the things that it occurs to me with pretty extensive experience in cybersecurity is that there are analogs between cyber policy, space policy, in terms of how government and the private sector can and must and need to work together. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on how, what is that relationship between government and the private sector, both on cloud-based services, but also on the cyber piece, but also on the space-based piece, given your background?
Yeah, well, two things. One of the things that we used to remind ourselves all the time is that there's no cyber without space, because many of our cyber capabilities are provided through satellite communications. So there's no cyber without space, and there's no space without cyber, because obviously we don't run terrestrial fiber to all of our satellites orbiting around the globe, right? So there's a really important relationship between space and cyber, and that's why all of us in the defense and intelligence community who've spent time in either of those fields have spent time in the other part of the field too. So integrated in everything we do, and that's key. When you think about the global partnerships, that's really interesting because it's public knowledge and unclassified that AWS supports some of the largest government, public sector, from transportation to finance, military, and other type organizations. So that partnership is really important. But I'll tell you, one of the things that my team has been working hard over the last year or so is we've been creating partnerships with other government organizations like Singapore, Brazil, and Greece, where they recognize that the space industry is growing so rapidly right now. It's an economic engine. Mm-hmm. And so our space team has partnered and signed official memoranda of understanding with those companies to help train and educate their workforce on cloud-based capabilities, how to open space startups and create space economies within their government and within their economies. And it's really an opportunity to grow their workforce, educate their workforce, and increase their economic activity, all by bringing them into the space age. So a lot of really powerful ways space and governments, local and federal, can partner together to really do good things. One of the missions that I'm very excited about, obviously we work very closely with NASA. Even 10 years ago, NASA ran the initial photos that were coming back from the Curiosity rover on the surface of Mars. They ran all that on AWS. The Perseverance rover, which is on the surface of Mars right now today, is not just storing pictures, but actually running mission-critical workloads in the AWS cloud right now today. So that's a really important partnership. But that government partnership is so valuable because governments are recognizing, especially in the space industry, we're seeing NASA commercialized contracts like the Commercial Lunar Services contract and others, and they're recognizing that they're going to get a lot more opportunity today by leveraging with the commercial industry. And that really means leveraging the cloud, because everything the commercial space and aerospace industries are doing today is more and more cloud-based.
Neither side can do it alone.
Neither side can do it alone, and we shouldn't even try, right? Because there's such synergy. In our government, General Raymond, we talked about him earlier today, he's been a real advocate of trying to bring more commercial capabilities to support the U.S. Space Force, and for a lot of really good reasons.
Well, we support that.
Yeah, well, we do too. Yeah, we do too.
I wanted to also, now let's go back to when you're talking about sustainability and traffic management.
Yeah.
How does AWS play in this area?
So sustainability is of global importance. You know, Amazon, at the Amazon level, we have the Global Climate Pledge, and Amazon is very well integrated and takes as a real priority our global sustainability needs and opportunities, and we're a big part on the world stage. On the space side of the house, we've taken that same mantra on. And so as I think about sustainability in space, my biggest worry becomes the worry you hear people on panels talk about all the time, and that's sort of the debris and debris mitigation. You know, General Romano, my good friend Nina, mentioned this morning that debris begets debris, and then we've got the Kessler effect, right, that you can read about, that talks about when debris is first created over the next number of hours, it creates exponential additional debris. So when we think about sustainability, frankly, one of the biggest challenges is making sure we understand where everything is in space so that we can keep them safe. And if there is a collision of some kind, that we can immediately notify the global satellite operations community where the debris is and how to mitigate it. And I'll give you an example of the way cloud is providing game-changing capability in that space sustainability model. And it's a company that we support called Leo Labs that operates out of California. Leo Labs built a global ground station of radars that they're using to monitor objects, both spacecraft and debris in low Earth orbit. They frankly have the best coverage in the world when it comes to LEO and the ability to monitor activity in LEO. And Leo Labs came to us about 2 years ago, and they said, hey, when we run all VAL, when we look at every object in space, run against every other object in space, and do a 24-hour predict about where there are potential space traffic management issues or collision issues, it takes us about 8 hours to run that. And they said the limiting factor, the lim fact we would call it in the military, the limiting factor is when we notify a company of a potential collision and it takes us 8 hours to do the run, when the company says, okay, should we maneuver up, right, left, up, down, left, or right? You know, the answer was, well, let us go run this and we'll get back to you in 8 hours, which might be inside the envelope of the collision. Yeah. Leo Labs moved all that capability to the AWS cloud, and today, instead of running that in 8 hours, they can run that all VAL calculations in less than 10 seconds. Some of you said I thought I was going to say 10 minutes. So from 8 hours to 10 seconds. And so now you're creating this new environment, new mission set, which is real-time space traffic management and collision avoidance. And within the period of a 3-minute phone call, when the company says, should I move up, down, left, or right, they'll say, let me run all 4 of those courses of actions for you, and we'll tell you which one limits the probability of a collision. That's a game-changing capability in space sustainability that's only possible because of the advanced speed of the AWS cloud.
That is fascinating. We've got a couple minutes left, and I just wanted to, I'll hit one more thing. So the International Space Station is set to retire in 2030. Yep. So tell us about AWS's role in what's next after the ISS and any other key issues you think we should be thinking about or
thanks. So first of all, how amazing is it to think about we have had a sustained human presence in space, humans living off the surface of our planet for 20 consecutive years, right? People don't really stop and think about that, but we have been sustaining life in space off of this planet for 20 consecutive years. But as all good things, the ISS can't operate forever, given its technology and the structure and all those sorts of things. So you're seeing this new mission set emerge, this commercial, and NASA started it with the commercial LEO destinations contract. So you're seeing companies like Blue Origin, and Blue Origin has determined that they're going to build the Orbital Reef, low Earth orbit space station, and they're going to make it a commercial hub in LEO so that companies can come in and do advanced research and development for medicine development, advanced manufacturing, a hub for on-orbit servicing, a hub for building space capabilities on orbit instead of launching them into orbit. So many amazing things, or even space tourism. All of that capability is going to require the advanced capacity of the cloud, artificial intelligence, machine learning, global networking, global storage and compute capability. And so we announced that we partnered with Blue Origin that we are going to cloud enable the Orbital Reef Space Station. And so we are literally working towards moving the cloud or moving the edge of the cloud into space. Couple that with the announcement we made a few months ago at our REMARS conference that we've already partnered with Axiom Space, who also has a contract to build a commercial module for the International Space Station. And a few months ago, we actually took a edge computing device we call a snow cone, and we ran it through a 7-month NASA flight qualification process, and we qualified that commercial off-the-shelf capability to fly into space. Axiom launched it on their inaugural AX-1 mission, and then we ran experiments using that edge computing and storage device to manage and monitor the experiments that astronauts were doing on the space station. So when you think about edge computing in space with Axiom, when you think about a cloud-enabled space station with Blue Origin, and you think about all the other workloads that potentially you could do in space if you had advanced technologies, Amazon's commitment is to move the cloud and move the edge wherever our customers need it. And in this environment, our customers need it closer and closer to the workload, which actually happens to be on orbit. And so we're excited to move forward with our customers in that way.
Clint, thanks. This was exciting and inspiring and looking forward to continue our conversations.
Thank you. And I just want to say very briefly, I so appreciate the Chamber of Commerce. And I told you backstage, when I was a young colonel commanding Buckley Air Force Base in Denver, Colorado, I had been in command 3 weeks when the local president of the Chamber of Commerce reached out and said, "Can I come meet you for lunch?" And we forged a partnership that was one of the most important partnerships in my 2 years in command. And the Chamber did all sorts of amazing, extraordinary things to support our men and women in uniform, to support our military, to invite local leaders out to the base and get to know our mission. So I just wanted to say I'm over time. I appreciate the Chamber and all you do.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.